Good morning everyone. So today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter 9, and it is midpoint and intercept theorem. So let us try to understand what is midpoint theorem. Okay, so here I have already written. I'll just explain to you, and what you are supposed to do is, in your maths copy you have to copy this. Okay, so the midpoint theorem says the line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and equal to 1/2 of it. Okay, so try to understand through this figure. So here what is trying to say is, if you have a triangle, okay, you have a triangle ABC, and let's say midpoint of AB is here. Okay, that means if AB is 4 centimeter, then this will be 2 centimeter and this will be also 2 centimeter, and midpoint of AC be here. Okay, so let me mark midpoint of AB as D and midpoint of AC as E. So suppose you have a triangle, and for two sides, okay, you know the midpoint. So what do? You join those midpoints. Okay, so after that what you observe is, you will observe that this D, this line, okay, will be parallel to the third side. Okay, that means parallel to BC, and length of this DE will be half of BC. Okay, let's say BC is 6 centimeter. Okay, then this D will be 3 centimeter. Okay, so in short you can write like this: for a triangle, let's say D and E are the midpoints of AB and AC. Like here, D is midpoint of AB and E is midpoint of AC. Then in that case, this D, okay, will be parallel to BC. Okay, so D will be parallel to BC, and this D will be half of BC. Okay, so you need to write down this. Okay, and later on when we'll see problem, things will be more clear to you. Okay, now so this was the midpoint theorem, which says that if you have a triangle and if you know the midpoints of any two sides, let's say I know midpoint this and this. Okay, then if you join these midpoints, then that line will be parallel to the third side and the length will be half of this third side. Okay, so this is clear. Now we are coming to the converse of the midpoint theorem. Okay, so what does this converse of midpoint theorem says? It says that the straight line drawn through the middle point of one side of a triangle parallel to another side bisects the third side. Okay, so here it is trying to say that, let's say you have a triangle A, B, C, and let's say midpoint of AB is here. Okay, and you draw a line, okay, which is going to meet AC, and that line has to be parallel. So you are drawing a line parallel to BC from this point. Okay, so I have drawn this parallel to BC. So in that case what will happen, wherever this line meets on AC, okay, will be the midpoint of AC. Okay, so let's say this is E, then this E will be midpoint of AC. That means this length and this length will be equal. Okay, so in short we can say, suppose here mention it D and here E. So let D be the midpoint of AB, and we are drawing DE parallel to BC. Okay, then in that case your E, this point, okay, this point will be the midpoint of AC. Okay, so you will write down in your maths copy. Clear? Now the next concept is of intercepts. Now firstly we'll try to understand what do we mean by intercept. Okay, so definition of intercept is this, that suppose you have two lines, let's say one is L and one is M. You consider two lines L and M, and you consider a third line such that that third line intercepts, okay, intersects L and M at point P and Q. So I have taken two lines L and M, and then I am taking the third line N which intersects L and M at P and Q. So in that case you can see this length P to Q, okay, this length P to Q is called intercept, is called intercept, okay, made by line L and M on the line N. Okay, so I have written down the definition, so you need to copy this. Okay, so this is the definition. Consider two lines L and M. So here we have considered lines L and M. Now we are considering a third line, that is N. So this is the third line N, such that N intersects L and M. So you can see that this line N is intersecting L and M at P and Q. Okay, so the line segment, that means this length PQ, okay, this line segment is called an intercept made by L and M, okay, on N. So this is the definition of intercept. Okay, so like here if I draw like this, okay, this is one line, let's say line 1, this is line 2, and then I am drawing line 3. So here this is the intercept. Okay, let's say this is A and this is B. So this segment AB, okay, is called intercept made by L1 and L2 on L3. Okay, now there is one theorem, okay, related to intercept. This theorem says that suppose you have three parallel lines. Suppose you have three parallel lines, like here I have considered L, M, N. Okay, so if you have three parallel lines and you have a transversal, okay, you have a transversal, let's say I consider one transversal P. Okay, this line is called transversal. So firstly we are considering three parallel lines L, M, N and one transversal, that is P. So here you can see that L and M is making one intercept AB, M and N is making another intercept BC. So if it happens that AB is equal to BC, if it happens that these two intercept AB and BC are equal, so in that case if you draw any other transversal, let's say Q, so in that case also you will observe that intercepts are going to be equal. Intercepts are going to be equal. So this is what this theorem is saying. So I'll just read it for you. If there are three parallel lines and the intercepts made by them on one transversal are equal, like here you can see the three parallel lines are L, M and N, and one transversal that I have considered is P, and here what happens, AB is equal to BC, that means this intercept AB is equal to this intercept BC. So in that case if you draw another transversal, so you will observe that intercepts, okay, made on that transversal will be also equal to each other. Okay, that means DE will be equal to EF. Clear? So So in that case, then the intercept on any other transversal are also equal. Okay. So in short, I am writing if AB is equal to BC, then DE will be equal to EF. Clear? So this was all about the midpoint theorem. Okay. Converse of midpoint theorem, intercept, and one theorem that we just discussed about intercepts. Okay. Now what we will do is we will move on to the question. Okay. So let us see questions. Okay children, so now let us see exercise 9a. So here first question is fill in the blanks. So number 1 is the line joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is dash to the third side. So here it's trying to say that if we have a triangle ABC and the line joining the midpoints of two sides of triangle, so let's say midpoint of AB is this and midpoint of AC is this. So you are joining it. Yes. So what does the midpoint theorem say? It says that if you're joining the midpoints of two sides, okay, then that this line will be parallel to the third side. Okay. So here answer will be parallel. Okay. So you have to write parallel over here. Okay. So you have to write, I'm writing over here. So you have to write parallel. Okay. Now second one is the line drawn through the midpoint of one side of a triangle parallel to another side bisects the dash side. So this is the statement of converse of midpoint theorem. So here converse of the midpoint theorem says that if you have a triangle ABC and let's say this is the midpoint of AB and you are drawing a line parallel to BC passing through this midpoint. Okay. So in that case, this line is going to bisect this one. Okay. AC. That means it's going to bisect the third side. Okay. So here answer will be, you have to fill over here third. Okay. You will write third. So this is done. Now let's see question number 3. So here question number 3 says in figure 9.16, so this is the figure. Okay. Here it's saying that S and T are the midpoints of PQ and PR. That means since S is the midpoint of PQ, that means PS is equal to QS and PT is equal to TR. Yes. So these S and T are midpoints of PQ and PR. Now they are saying if ST, this length, okay, ST is 3 centimeter, what is the length of QR? So we know that by the midpoint theorem that the line joining the midpoints of two sides, okay, is going to be parallel to the third side. Okay. And the line which we have joined, okay, is going to be half of the third one. Okay. That means this ST is half of QR. Okay. So that means this QR is going to be double of this. Yes. So this will be 3 into 2, that means 6 centimeter. Okay. So this we have got due to midpoint theorem. Okay. Now the fourth one is in figure 9.17, D and E are midpoints of AB and AC. Okay. And then it's saying that if D is equal to 7.5 centimeter, find BC. Okay. So firstly let us see the figure. So this is the figure ABC and D and E are the midpoints of AB and AC, and it's saying that DE is 7.5. So it's saying that this is 7.5. 5 centimeter, and this D and E are the midpoints. So since D and E are the midpoints, so your DE will be parallel to BC, and this DE will be half of BC. Okay, DE will be half of BC. That means BC will be double of that. Okay, so 7.5 centimeter. So this will be how much? Double of that. Okay, so this is going to be 15 centimeter. Okay, now let us see question number 5. So here question number 5 says find the value of x in each triangle. So altogether there are 3 triangles. Okay, and let's see the first one. First one is A. So here you can see that if I label it as A, B, and this as C. So here you can see that, and okay, this one has D and this one has E. So what do you observe over here? Here you can see that AD is equal to DB. That means D is the midpoint of AB, and on AC you can see that AE is equal to EC. That means E is the midpoint of AC. So now we can apply midpoint theorem. Midpoint theorem says that if you are joining the midpoints of two sides, then the line that we are joining is going to be parallel to the third side. So that means DE is parallel to BC. Okay, and this D is going to be half of this BC. Okay, so by midpoint theorem, this 64, okay, this length will be half of BC. That means half of 4x. So if you simplify, 2 1s are 2 2s are, so you are getting 64 is equal to 2x. So your x will be 64 divided by 2, that is 32. Okay, so here x is 32. Okay, now see B. Here if I label it as A, B, C, okay, and this one has D, this one has E. Clearly D and E are midpoints of AB and AC. So by midpoint theorem, your DE will be parallel to BC, and this DE will be half of BC. Yes, that means, let me solve this side. So that means your DE, that is x minus 8, will be half of BC, means 40. So you are getting x minus 8 is equal to 20. So x is equal to 28. Okay, so you got this. Now see this C. Okay, so here also if I label it as A, B, and this one as C. So here you can see that, and mark this as D, this as E. So here you can see that midpoint of AB is D, because here AD is equal to DB. Okay, and midpoint of BC is E. So now we can easily apply midpoint theorem, and by midpoint theorem, this line joining D and E, okay, will be parallel to BC, this third side AC. Okay, and this DE will be half of AC. So we will get that x plus 8 is equal to half of 6x. Okay, so this will be half of 6x. So 2 1s are, and here 3s are. So x plus 8 is equal to 3x. Clear? Now this x can be taken that side, so we are getting 3x minus x. So 8 is equal to 2x. Clear? And then x will be 8 by 2, that is 4. Okay, so okay children, so till question number 3, till question number 1, Okay, so I have explained all. Now the thing is, from question 3 onwards till 5, okay, you have to write. So what you're supposed to write and how you're supposed to write, I'll just show it to you. Okay, okay children, so we have already discussed this question. So exercise 9a, question number 1, 3. For solution, this is how you're going to write. Okay, you will draw the figure, clear, and here it's given S and T are midpoints. Okay, since these S and T are midpoints, then ST will be parallel to QR. Okay, and this ST is going to be half of QR. Why? Because of midpoint theorem. Okay, these things I have already explained, but you are supposed to write down this. Okay, so you will write down this. Then ST is how much? 3 centimeter. QR we don't know, so leave it like this. Simplify and you get 6 centimeter. Okay, I had already explained over here. Okay, so this is what you will write, okay, in your maths copy, and this fill in the blanks you will simply write in your textbook. Okay, now after that, question number 4. So for question number 4, you will draw the figure. Okay, and you will write this: given D and E are the midpoints of AB and AC respectively, then by midpoint theorem, since this D and E are midpoints, so by midpoint theorem what we will get, D will be parallel to BC. Okay, and your D will be half of BC. So here out of D and BC, you know value for D, just substitute and simplify and you will get 15 centimeter. Okay, so you can just pause the video and write down. Okay, and this is fifth one. Okay, so here find the value of x in each triangle. So this is your A, so you have to draw the figure. Okay, and then you have to write what are given to you. So here D and E are midpoints, so I have just labeled it. Okay, A, B, C, D, E. So here D and E are midpoints. Then by midpoint theorem, your D will be parallel to BC and D is going to be half of BC. Okay, then substitute the value. D is equal to 64, BC is 4x. You simplify and you get 32. Okay, then B, you draw the figure. Okay, you will label it as it is labeled over here, and then you write given D and E are the midpoint. Since D and E are the midpoints, then what? By midpoint theorem, this D will be parallel to BC. Okay, and this D will be half of BC. Substitute the values, simplify, and you get x equal to 28. Okay, then this is your C. For C, you are going to draw the figure. Okay, I have labeled it as A, B, C, D. Okay, E. So here you can see that D is the midpoint and E is the midpoint. Okay, they are midpoints of BC and AC. Then by midpoint theorem, this D has to be parallel to AB and D will be half of AB. Okay, so this is written down. Substitute the value and you will get your answer. Okay, so this is how you are going to do. So you can just pause the video and you can write it. Okay, so all together the word C. Okay children, now let us see question number 2. So here in question number 2 it says there is one triangle ABC. Okay, and your AB is 6 centimeter, AC is 3 centimeter. So let's say this is the figure. Okay, A, B, C. Okay, where AB is how much? 6 centimeter, means from here A till here it's 6 centimeter, and AC from here till here it is 3 centimeter, and it's saying if M is the midpoint of AB. Let's say this is the midpoint of AB. So when I say M is midpoint of AB, that means I am trying to say that AM is equal to MB. Total length of AB is 6 centimeter, therefore this AM will be 3 centimeter and this BM will be 3 centimeter. Okay, and then a straight line through M parallel to AC cuts BC in M. So now what is happening? A parallel line, okay, from M, okay, and that parallel line is that line is parallel to what? AC. Okay, so M is through M we are drawing a parallel line parallel to AC. Okay, so here we are drawing this parallel to AC. Okay, and which cuts, okay, which cuts BC at N. Okay, so it's given that this MN is parallel to AC. Now what we are supposed to find? We are supposed to find the length of MN. Okay, so AC was given to us 3 centimeter. Now they want us to find the length of MN. So try to recall the converse of midpoint theorem. Converse of midpoint theorem says that if you have a triangle ABC and you know the midpoint of one side, okay, and you draw a parallel line through that point, okay, so here I am drawing parallel line, okay, which is parallel to BC, then in that case this line is going to bisect AC. Okay, so here in that case what is happening, this MN will bisect BC. Okay, so you can see that now you can easily say that MN is half of AC. So AC is 3 centimeter, so this will be 1.5 centimeter. Okay, so what you're supposed to write, I'll just show to you. So this is your solution for question number 2. So you will draw the diagram. Okay, so A, B, C, okay, and here is given that M is the midpoint of AB and MN is parallel to BC. Okay, so here we are supposed to write like this, make this B and make this A and make this no, okay, wait, okay, so figure is okay, there is no problem with the figure. So here you will draw the figure, your M will be the midpoint of AB and this through M you are drawing a parallel line which is going to be parallel to AC. Okay, so you will write M is the midpoint of AB, then MN is parallel to BC. Okay, then AB is 6 centimeter, this is given to you, so AB is 6 centimeter and AC is 3 centimeter, so this is 3 centimeter. Now as M is the midpoint of AB and MN is parallel to AC, therefore by the converse of midpoint theorem N is the midpoint of BC. You will write down this and hence MN will be half of AC. Okay, in that case then we'll have this MN half of AC, so MN will be equal to half into AC, that is 1.5 centimeter. Okay, so what you will do is you will pause the video, okay, and you'll write down the solution. Okay, now let us see question number 3. So here question number 3 is figure 9.19. In the triangle ABC, D is the midpoint of AB and E is the midpoint of AC. Calculate D if BC is 6 centimeter, and we have to calculate angle ADE if angle DBC is 140. So this is the triangle ABC and D is the midpoint of AB and E is the midpoint of AC. So this is equal to this. and this is equal to this. So you can see D and E are the midpoints. So by midpoint theorem, this D is going to be parallel to BC and this D is going to be half of BC. Okay, so you can easily find value for D because BC is given, that is 6 centimeter. So half of 6 is 3. Okay, so your D is going to be 3 centimeter. Then since this angle is given to us 140 degree, we can easily find this angle. Why? Because D is parallel to BC. Okay, so this angle B, okay, and this angle ADE, they are corresponding angles, so they are going to be equal. Reason is D is parallel to BC. Okay, so this was explanation. Now I'll show you what you're supposed to write down. Okay, so this is the solution. Question 3, this is the figure. Okay, so here D and E are the midpoints of AB and AC respectively. These things are given to you, and since D and E are the midpoints of AB and AC, so by the midpoint theorem what we'll have that DE is parallel to BC, so I wrote, and I'll have DE half of BC. Okay, so for D I will use this and I'll substitute the value for BC and I'll get 3 centimeter, and angle ADE, that means this angle, is corresponding to this angle. Okay, so I got 140 degree. So this is the answer. Okay, and this is how you are supposed to write. So you can pause the video and you can copy it. Okay. Okay children, so now let us see question number 4. So here question number 4 in figure 9.20 DEF. So here this is the figure. Okay, you have got a triangle ABC, and here DEF, these are the midpoints of BC, AC and AB respectively. Now we are supposed to prove that AD bisects EF. That means we need to show that this is equal to this and this is equal to this. Okay, so in order to show this, what we are going to do is we will join D and E, and then we'll join, okay, firstly see, I'm joining D and E. So once I join D and E, you can see, consider this triangle. Okay, in this triangle what you observe is this D and E is midpoint, therefore this D will be parallel to this one. Okay, and D will be half of AB, and you know that F is the midpoint of AB, therefore this is equal to this. Okay, so half of AB is what? AF. Okay, so your DE will be equal to AF, and also DE will be parallel to AF. So what we are getting? We are getting that AF is parallel to DE, and we are getting that AF is equal to D. Yes, so once we join D, we got this much. Okay, this information. Now what we will do is next we will join D and F. So once you are joining D and F, you can see D is the midpoint of BC and F is the midpoint of AB. So in that case, by midpoint theorem, this DF will be parallel to AC and DF will be half of AC. So half of AC, you can see that since E is the midpoint, so this AE and EC are equal, so half of AC is AE. So DF is equal to AE, and also DF is parallel to AE. So we came to know that FD is parallel to AE and FD is equal to AE. Okay, so what is happening actually, once when we are joining DF and DE, this FD is getting parallel to AE and this D is getting parallel to AF. Okay, and plus AF is equal to D and this FD is equal to A. So we are getting a parallelogram. AFDE is a parallelogram because opposite sides are equal and parallel. Okay, so in parallelogram what happens, the diagonals bisect each other, so therefore we are able to prove that AD bisects FE. Okay, so this was explanation. Now I'll show you what you're supposed to write in your maths copy. Okay, so for question number 4, this is the solution. This is the figure. Okay, so you will write given D is the midpoint of BC, D is the midpoint of BC. Okay, F is the midpoint of AB and E is the midpoint of AC. Done. These things are given to you. Then construction means we are doing something extra than what is given to us. Okay, we are drawing some more. Okay, so we are going to join FD, okay, with dotted lines and DE with dotted lines. Now by midpoint theorem, okay, by midpoint theorem you will observe that this FD, okay, this FD will be parallel to this AC, okay, because D and F, these are midpoints, so FD is going to be parallel to AC and FD will be half of AC. So FD will be half of AC, okay, that is AE, because already E is the midpoint of AC, and FD will be parallel to AC, that means FD will be parallel to AE. Okay, and again once when you have joined D, you can see D and E are the midpoints, so D will be parallel to AB, okay, and D will be half of AB, but here F is the midpoint, so half of AB will be AF. Okay, so here we will write DE is parallel to, sorry, half of AB, that means AF, and D is parallel to AB, which is parallel to AF. Okay, so thus we are getting that FD is parallel to AE, D is parallel to AF, and FD is equal to AF and D is equal to AF. Okay, so what is happening actually, I'll just draw this. So here we are getting that this is parallel to this one is parallel to this, and this FD is equal to AE and this D is equal to AF. So clearly AFDE is a parallelogram. Okay, so therefore AFD is a parallelogram and the diagonals AD and FE bisect. Why? Because diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Okay, so this is question 4. You will pause the video, okay, and you'll copy it. Clear? Okay, so this is all for today.